Hi Stampers, it's me, Meg Loven, and I am here to show you a project that features one of our new suites. So this suite came out on July 1st, and if you haven't seen it yet, you're in for a treat. Ha ha, get it? You're in for a treat? Wait, maybe I got the name of it wrong. Oh, I did. Okay, well, you're in for a sweet treat. How's that? Anyway, the suite that we're using is the Spooky Sweet Suite and the Spooky Halloween stamp set, along with its matching Spooky Halloween dies. And then the centerpiece of the whole thing is the Spooky Halloween paper. So I really have been having fun with these. And I know the very first thing you're thinking is, that's fine, Meg, but I do not send Halloween cards. Okay, I totally understand. I don't really send a lot of Halloween cards either, except like if I've got them made, then I send them out because they're sitting there and ready to go. But what I do is during the month of October, I love to give little treats to people. The clerks at the bank or the grocery store or wherever I happen to go, the post office usually, I love to share little treats with them. And so usually it's like a wrapped candy or something, but sometimes it's a card. And so I wanted to show you just some of the really cute elements that are included in this suite today. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a fun pop-up card, and I'm going to give you all the instructions so you can try making this. Plus, I'm going to show you some of the dies that are included in this set. There are some really cute ones. This little haunted house die and then this little baddie die. Both have some really cool features that you can do with them. So I'm going to show you some cool tips for those. All right, now I'm going to switch my camera down. If you haven't noticed, I'm not actually here live with you today. This is a pre-recorded video, but it doesn't mean that I love you any less. Sorry, I need my ink pad here. It just means that I am still out of town and will be back next week for live Maker Minds with Meg. So our next video on Tuesday will be live, and I'm really looking forward to catching up with you guys and being here in the studio with you while we're chatting and so forth. So with that, of course, it's Thursday, so happy pre-Friday to you. And I hope you have fun plans for your weekend. So especially if they include some fun, making Halloween things. But anyway, we're going to start here with the center of our card and go ahead and stamp our cat friend. And this is going to go inside our card. Now, our card base here is 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches. And this might look familiar to you. I've used this layout a couple times, and honestly, I don't even remember which cards I've showed you at this point. Which ones you haven't seen yet. It's been so much stamping and putting together lately. But you're going to score this strip at 1 inch, 4 inches. That's 1 inch, 2 inches. And then you're going to split the difference of what's left, which means 6 1/2 inches, okay? So I'm going to do a little zigzag here. I think the first time I showed you this card, it was a Cheers and Sips card maybe, from May tutorials, June tutorials, whenever that was, June tutorials, I guess. Anyway, so we're going to make this zigzag card here. And usually I put a really wide overlay on this, but for this card, we're going to actually keep our overlay really narrow because I don't want to overwhelm our card base, okay? I want to leave lots of space for scene building. And so I have this strip of pumpkin pie. This one happens to be 1 inch by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2. And I'm going to go ahead and put in a 3/4 inch strip of designer series paper. This is one of the papers from this super cute Spooky Sweet designer series paper package. All right. Now here's the other paper that we're going to use for our card. This is like a scene builder one. There's like a sidewalk and a fence and pumpkins and fence in the background. So let's bring in our paper here, and I'll show you how all of these papers go together. So this one here I've cut out this bit down here. This is one of the papers that gives you sort of the background scene collection ideas. So you can cut this up or use it all together. You could even use just the back side of it. But I'm going to take this piece right here for today's card. We also have this fun paper here with all these great windows, pumpkins, kitties looking out, and so forth. We have 2 sheets of die cuts, and these are really easy to punch out. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do a hippo here, a mummy hippo, super fun. And then I'll show you some of these other pieces. There's these little potion bottles, some trees, and there's of course two sheets of these particular die cuts. Here's the rest of that fun candy paper, the pretty backgrounds, and then two sheets of this paper. I mean, who can resist that darling flamingo ballerina, or the little bat wearing the ghost costume? These are darling. Of course, a really pretty backing on them. And then our final paper is this set here. These are not die cut. This is just a piece of paper with a fun, neutrally blurry background. Great for layering, but these you can cut apart and use for tags and things like that. So during that month of October, when I'm, trotting around running my errands and I have little, treats to give out, sometimes I'll use some of those little tags to say Happy Halloween, right? Nobody is ever offended by getting a little tiny gift. So that is a really fun way to spread a little bit of happiness, which we can all use. So. All right, so I'm going to cut this paper down. It's 4 inches wide already, but I need it to be 4 1/4 inches tall. So I'm actually going to go ahead and pop this on here and trim away the bottom. Okay, so now we have this piece. And of course, I'm going to pop this back in my paper because you never know what I might want to use that for. And then we're going to go ahead and attach this inside our card. So let's see. I'm trying to think which cards of these you've seen. I'm not positive. I know that you've seen the Cheers and Sips one. It was a card kit to go from June. But all right, so now we have our backing here. And then our kitty and our Happy Halloween greeting, that's going to go on the inside of our card. So we'll go ahead and pop that here. Now we're going to assemble the strip for the outside. I like to call this a stair step overlay card because it has this little stair step in the front. And then we're going to add this overlay feature here. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive at the end. You can't go more than 1 inch because that's where your score line is. And then a little bit more here on the back. I usually attach this on the back first so that I can line this up where I want it. Make sure that this is straight across here. Let's see, that looks pretty straight, right? And then I'm going to hold our card shut and go ahead and just close the front of our card down on it. So if I do this when our card is flat on the table, then I know that our card is going to go into its envelope, no problem. So I like to do that flat. Now we have a little bit of a pop-up overlay here. It's a really, really simple card. Okay, so our hippopotamus friend here is going to decorate the front of our card. And this is basically like a layered card where you could stop at any point and have your card be really cute. So you could stop right here with your hippopotamus and be happy that you have just this really fun little hippo card, but it kind of needs a greeting, don't you think? So I'm going to bring in a piece of our Darling Duckling cardstock, which kind of matches the background here in some of our candies. And we're going to use our Memento Black, and I'm going to stamp this greeting that I say wrong all the time. It says, no tricks, all treats, but in my head I read it all the time as all tricks, no treats. So make sure that you get the right version of it. But we're going to go ahead and stamp this on here and punch with our label punch. All right, now this is going to fit here on the front of our card. We're just going to overlap it right on the edge there and have it sit on the front of our card. So you can see that the easiest place to put the adhesive is right here because now I know that I'm not actually going to seal our card shut, okay, if that makes sense. And then I can pop our greeting on the front like that. Now, I'm going to make sure it's straight at the bottom, and I'm going to make sure it doesn't go past the edge of our card here because if we want our card to fit in an envelope, we have to stay within the boundaries of this basic black elements here, okay? All right. So again, you could quit while you're ahead, and this would be a really cute card with a hippo going trick-or-treating and some really cute greetings. No tricks, all treats, happy Halloween. But we're not done because I promised to talk to you about these dies here included. So there are 2 dies here that actually cut out the kitty and the dog, Frankenstein dog. Excuse me. But we also have these these scene building dies here that don't really match the shapes in the stamp set. And then of course our bats. So I have cut all of these out of basic black cardstock, and let's go ahead and pull these here. So we have our haunted house, and I'm just gonna flick this a few times and all those little window pieces are gonna fall out. We have our fun fence, and we have our two bats here. I love a die where both pieces are cut at the same time. It makes it really easy to use. And then finally we have this sort of bat template die here. And I cut this out. I'm not going to use it in our project, but I wanted to show you. It scores in the center. That's part of the die. And when you score it, then you can fold. And now you have like sort of this little like wrappy part here, which you could put onto a cardstock layer or something. But it's almost like a little tombstone or something like that. So it's really kind of cute. Here, I'll show you there. You could also attach this as like some kind of tag topper or something like that, but a really fun little baddie shape, okay? All right, so let's come back to our haunted house here. I really, really want this haunted house to sit in the background of our card like this, but here is the problem. The haunted house has holes in it, and do you see how all the pumpkins show through? That just doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cover those up. I have a strip of Darling Duckling here, and I'm gonna go ahead and just sort of rough cut some pieces here. Let's see, how high do I need to go? I think safer from this side. And we're gonna go ahead and put a little glue on here. It doesn't take a lot of coverage because this is actually gonna be an element that sits down flat on our card, so it's not like we have to like cover this, with the exception of the top. So you'll see what I mean when I get here in a second. All right, and then let's get this piece here. We're gonna concentrate on getting it wide or long enough first, and then we're gonna make it narrower. Okay, so that it doesn't overlap the boundaries of our house. All right, you seen how this works? So I think the safest place to put adhesive is just right there in the center. And I'm gonna make this go as low as possible so that we have the back of our haunted house covered. All right, so now we have a haunted house where we can put our house, whoops, it shifted. Like I said, multi-purpose glue doesn't grab instantly, but it does grab hard once it grabs. So you just gotta be careful with it until it's grabbed. All right, so now we can put our house on here. But here's the thing, if I put this up too high, well, first of all, it's too tall for a card. But second of all that strippy stuff shows, and I don't really want that on the back. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a dimensional on here, and I'm actually going to mount this from the back side. So I'm gonna pop this on so that it is hiding our yellow there and sits there on the front, okay? So we've got that as tall as we can make it, but still hiding our sort of the guts of our haunted house. And then we have our little fence, which we could put down flat in front of the house, but I thought, gosh, wouldn't it be fun if we just put a little bit of glue on each of these pieces, and then we hooked this to the back of our tag here, so that it looks like our fence is on a whole another plane, another dimension here from our haunted house. Isn't that fun? So it really moves the fence into the foreground with our trick-or-treater hippo, and it puts that house in the background sort of as a forced perspective, okay? All right, and then we have two bats left, so clearly I think one needs to just sit up here on our card. Remember, I can't go past the edge here, so I need to make sure our bat wings are all on there. And then I'm gonna pop a little bit of glue on here and pop our second bat friend here. And same thing, we need to make sure that our bat wing, oops, our bat's flying away. I need to make sure that our bat wing does not go past the edge of our card there, because we don't want it to get stuck on the edge of the envelope. Okay, so now we have our card. So flat here, we have the ability to put this into an envelope. And then when someone receives our card, they can put it down on their table and it'll sit like this with all of its fun little perspective elements ready to show off this fun stamp set. Okay, so what do you guys think? Are you loving the Spooky Sweet suite yet? I just think that all the pieces in here are darling. And if you haven't seen, oh, I forgot, we still have more to add to our card. Okay, so we're not going to use this ribbon, but this is part of the suite. It is the Petunia Pop iridescent ribbon, so you can see how pretty that is. There are iridescent treat bags, which you can believe are going to be featured in some projects with me coming up later. And then there are these spooky shimmer star foam stickers. And I demoed these for my team, my LovenStamps demonstrator team. And first of all, remember, open your packets from the side because that makes life easy. And somebody on our meeting was like, I've never heard that before. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm glad you caught it now. It does make it easier because you don't have to deal with that sticky flap on the back of your plastic container. But I also, the first time I felt these for a project, I was like, oh, those are really fun and they are really, really soft. And so I think they are so soft, they're like Peeps. So I'm calling these my Peeps foam shimmer stickers. No peeps were harmed in the making of these, I'm quite certain, but I do love them and they're really, really soft. So you don't need to worry about them poking through your envelope or anything like that. Okay. All right. Well, I hope that you guys are having fun with this suite as much as I have. And I hope that you have fun plans for your weekend on this fabulous pre-Friday, and that you have enjoyed the videos that I've shared with you while I've been gone. So I had a good time putting them together before I traveled because I just couldn't miss all of these days of sharing really fun new online exclusives with you. So watch for more fun online exclusives when I return. And yeah, a report of my adventures in New Mexico. So thanks guys for joining me, and I will be back Tuesday, actually in the studio, actually live for a video, and I'll see you then. So happy stamping, everyone.